Alright folks, we are back with Game 2 of Kenton versus MotM in Round 1 of the Nebraska Esports StarCraft 2 Open. This took place on November 18th. Now this round was actually played a little bit in advance of the actual live event that we did have a few online rounds, and this is one of the matches in that online portion of the tournament. So the first, the player who gets eliminated from this first round does go down. This is a double elimination, so they go down into the losers bracket, or the elimination bracket, and those games actually started on the 18th. So we'll go in order as we cast these and get to those in the later stages of the tournament. I would like to, before we start this game, give a big shout out to our sponsors for the event: QuickTech Computers, Greenfield's Pancake House, Da Vinci's Pizza, and Champions Fun Center, all here in Lincoln, Nebraska. A big shout out and thanks to them for sponsoring the event, especially for providing the computers on which the live event was run. They're great people to work with, especially QuickTech Computers. Just briefly what they do, what they can do for you as gamers and StarCraft fans. They do have custom builds of PCs, and they're really good about keeping them affordable and giving you a really good machine for whatever budget that you have. Definitely check them out if you get a chance on quicktet.net, I believe it is. Should double check on that before the game is over. But a big shout out and thanks to them. And we're going to go straight now into Game 2. And so let's get this up and running. So here we are in Game 2, and we have Kenton spawning as the purple Terran down here in the bottom left, against MotM as the blue Zerg in the top right on MLG Zelnaga Caverns. Now, MotM did go down in Game 1 to some drop play from Kenton, followed up by a strong Marine tank medevac push into his natural. So that puts him down one game in the series, but this is a best of 3, so he could come back in this game to tie it up and then take the series. Like I said earlier, this is double elimination format, and so even if MotM does get knocked out here in Game 2, he is not completely out of the tournament, and he goes down into the elimination bracket and would have to fight his way up through there. Now for this tournament, because we didn't have a ton of time to run it in for the live event, the elimination bracket we did make best of 1. And so it's a little risky getting knocked down into there, because you might see a bit more cheese down the elimination bracket because of its format. And so you really don't want to have to go and fight your way through the elimination bracket if you are that kind of standard player. If you're a cheeser, hey, it might be a dream come true, I suppose. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see what builds we get out of these players this time. Last game we did see MotM go for that early speedling sort of play, but didn't really get a lot of pressure out with those early speedlings. Now, so what we're seeing this time is we do not have the gas, but we do have a 15 pool, and I wouldn't be surprised to see an expansion following this up shortly thereafter. Maybe like a 15-16, like the old Idra build from the beta. Meanwhile, Kenton going for 2 racks. Should MotM go for that expansion, this could be very deadly, but it does look like he's not going to go for that expansion. He's going to throw down the gas after pool, which is often an indication of roach pressure. But this being, like I mentioned in Game 1, these players are both Silver League players, so he may still be going for a speedling sort of pressure and maybe a little bit earlier expansion. We'll just have to wait and see what his exact plan is. Kenton doing essentially the same build he did last time, getting gas after his second barracks. I don't know if he's really gotten any intel out. He's gotten a bit of intel, so he hasn't seen an expansion or anything. So it may be just that he opens 2 racks, and if he doesn't see an expansion, we'll go for that gas, which I like that play. I think it's a very good idea. It gives you the option of putting some pressure on your opponent should he go hatch first, but you can always just throw down that gas later and play it more standard after that if he does not go hatch first. So a bit of a misstep right now from MotM, only 2 guys in gas. I don't know if he is meaning to do that right now. That is going to slow things down a bit on his tech. Seeing both players just content to make a lot of workers right now. MotM actually massing up a lot of lings. Interestingly, maybe feeling a bit vulnerable after that loss in his first match. So playing it a little bit safer and making sure he has a lot of defenses here in the early game. Yeah, and so we got a second gas going down now for Kenton. I wouldn't be surprised to see him throw down a factory and maybe even go for that starport again and try that sort of drop play that he did in the previous match. We see an expansion going down here any minute now for MotM. There we go. Expansion going down and scan in the base of MotM. So Kenton should be aware of kind of what's going on. He doesn't see any tech in there right now. He just sees the one gas. These guys still on gas, so maybe thinking of some sort of tech transition here. But given the low count of harvesters here in the main, he's got to be thinking some sort of expansion. So Kenton massing up a ton of Marines, getting his third barracks just like the last game, and here comes the factory. So almost the exact same build as the previous game. Looks like he has practiced this out a bit, perhaps for this tournament setting. MotM getting a second gas geyser, making a lot of lings still, getting speed, making a few more workers, and waiting for that expansion to finish. If we look at the harvester count right now, you'll note that MotM is substantially behind in harvesters right now. He did opt for quite a few lings instead of workers, and so that is going to put him behind in income, which, as I mentioned before, is actually even more dramatic at this stage of the game, in particular against a Terran player where they have those mules, and that gives them a huge mineral advantage. Expansion just finishing for MotM. I'm not sure what he's talking about right now, but anyway, expansion going down. Maybe he just got scanned at the expo or something. Going down, tons of lings here. Wouldn't be I would kind of like to see a baneling nest or something go down right now. He's still getting quite a bit of gas. Only 2 guys in each geyser right now. Now immediately fixing that. I'm not sure if it was intentional. Just get a few more minerals out. You do see the lair going down now for MotM, and both players playing this out very similar to last game, playing very passively and defensively for the time being, and wouldn't be surprised to see Kenton do the exact same thing as in game 1. Here we have the starport just finished. There's a reactor ready to receive that starport, so we'll probably be seeing quite a few medevacs coming out here in a moment. Now, you should note that the tech for Kenton is substantially behind, well, at least the upgrades for Marines are substantially behind this game compared to the last one. This tech lab came out a little bit later, so combat shield still not even done, and stem not even started. And so that's going to change things quite a bit should he decide to push it at the same time. So, let's see, still more lings being made right now for MotM. As I said before, I would like to see him maybe take a baneling nest. I would like to see a bit more scouting perhaps out of him. He could poke the front here and see how many Marines he's got going on, and maybe, you know, throw an Overlord in the side. But here we go. We do have the drop moving out again for Kenton. Gonna kind of come around the side here and probably drop the main like last game. And MotM does have pretty decent Overlord spotting, and so he should be able to see this, but whether he'll actually notice it or not, it is kind of hard to see those drops coming in, especially against purple. Man, I hate playing against purple. You know, when I play, I always pick purple just so that I don't have to try to see purple drops coming in. But maybe that's just me. I think purple is imbalanced when it comes to spotting drops and such. But anyway, here he goes. MotM should be able to see this as these drops come in, but again, it's a question of whether or not he's going to notice before they drop into his main. He does have quite a bit of lings, and they should be able to hold this off, but it does not look like he has noticed it. This drop is, nope, never mind, he has just noticed it. The drop is not going to go down in the main, as there are a ton of lings there ready to receive him. The Queen going to get a few hits off on this medevac, and they're going to just kind of come around the back here and probably try to drop in the natural, but there are lings there as well. And so he's going to come back into the main and just drop right here on top of this Queen. And these lings here are not doing a lot. A lot of Marines getting out before the lings can engage, and they do not have the best surface area in the world. But Kenton is going to lift them up anyway and pull out Just gonna kind of dance around here, keep MotM busy. And we do have mutas out right now, and they could come in and pick off these drops. There goes one drop ship down. Here comes the mutas to take out the second. And will he be able to get it before he drops off any Marines? Yes, he does. And so a very good defense this time out of MotM, taking very little damage from that drop, losing a queen and just a few lings. We do have siege tech finished now for Kenton. He still has quite a good force back at home. The expansion going up, but pretty vulnerable at this point. MotM going to move out with a ton of lings, leaving the mutas back at home, surprisingly, but he's going to be able to come down here and actually probably force this expansion to lift off. Bunker going down now for Kenton. Not going to be able to finish. There goes the expansion, lifting up. He's going to try to probably going to try to move up on the ramp here. Maybe not. Probably a good idea. There are siege tanks there, and so they will do massive amounts of damage to these lings should he try to engage. A good number of mutas coming out. +1 is about halfway done on the attack for these mutalisks. He's going to probably poke around here in the back and be able to do a substantial amount of damage. Missile turrets are going up right now for Kenton, but are they going to be able to finish in time? No, it does not look like these are going to be able to finish in time. Marines are going to have to come down here and chase these mutalisks away. Is MotM going to respond and pull them back soon enough? Oh, you're going to get him out, and he's going to be just fine. I would like to see these lings maybe... No, I think they're just fine, actually, to be quite honest. In this time, it wouldn't be a bad idea for MotM to try to expand, but never mind. He's going to run up here on the ramp. There are 3 tanks up here, though, to greet him, and they're just... Oh, going to get completely obliterated here. Do manage to take out the supply depot. Pardon me, I forgot the word I was looking for there for a moment. But that's about it. And still not able to secure an expansion and all of that. But all in all, MotM still quite a bit ahead in the food count, and actually pulled substantially ahead in the harvester count, 40 to 17 with that harass, making quite a bit of drones during all of that. And so that's actually a very good situation for MotM to be in right now. Would still like to see him maybe take an expansion or two and keep the pressure up here on Kenton. Kenton being forced to make a lot of Marines and missile turrets to feel safe. Hasn't been able to secure this expansion quite yet. He's going to move down with these tanks to secure this area. But they are alone. They do not have Marine support, so if mutalisks came in here, they would be able to clean this entire thing up and force the Marines to come down, and subsequently they could run into the main, do all sorts of crazy damage. It'd be really annoying. Here we go. MotM is going to move out with a few lings to take out these rocks, the gold. I like this decision. I would like to see him take this gold and probably this third back here as well. The Marines coming down to join their tank buddies and defend this natural. That's leaving the main fairly unprotected. There are a good number of Marines there still, and they do have +1 armor now, I believe. Yeah, so he's actually going to be pretty safe from these mutalisks, but the mutalisk count is getting higher and higher. Now, interestingly, we have 2 spires out right now. That's going to allow MotM to get those air upgrades quite a bit faster should he choose to do so. We do have a second lair being constructed. I think that might have been a misstep. I think he meant to make a hive with one of his hatcheries there so that he could get broodlords out. So that's actually, hopefully he catches that in time, because that's actually going to be quite a misstep and going to set him pretty far behind in tech. This third is going up at the natural for MotM. Would like to see maybe a bit more pressure out of him. He just kind of being defensive in this defensive stance right now is not going to help him keep his lead against this Terran player. As you may know, these Terran units are quite efficient, and so if he's able to catch back up here in the army count, he's actually going to be able to do substantial amounts of damage against this composition from the Zerg player. Still no banelings out either. But here we go. We got the lings moving out to poke the natural, perhaps. They're going to be greeted by a ton of Marines, but these tanks have actually unsieged, and so they're not going to actually lose their lives like they probably ought to have in that engagement. It looks like Kenton was thinking about moving out himself for a moment there. If we go to the units tab, we can see 15 mutalisks are out and 13 corruptors. Should he be able to get that Hive out, which, yeah, he still hasn't been able to start. Those could all be Broodlords, actually, at this point, and be doing substantial amounts of damage to the Terran army right now. So that misstep is going to cost MotM, pardon me, man. It's going to cost MotM quite a bit. Now, as you can see, now he's getting his Hive, but it's probably not going to finish in time because here comes Kenton. He has decided this is the time to move out, and he has quite a few medevacs, marines, and tanks, and should be able to do a ton of damage to MotM as he pushes into this gold. MotM does have these Mutalisks here, but I don't know if he's going to notice, and they're going to go down really quick to all these marines, and the Ling's streaming in, not able to do a ton of damage, and oh, this is just really bad for MotM right now. Not quite seeing that push before he lost all his units, and here come the Corruptors. They're going to be able to take out a few of these medevacs, but yeah, as MotM says, that is it, and he does go down in game 2. So Kenton takes the series against MotM in round 1 of the Nebraska Esports StarCraft 2 Open, and he will advance to round 2. MotM does go down into the elimination bracket, and he has a chance to fight back through the tournament should he be able. And so we'll be back and we'll see how these players fared. So thanks for watching. Again, a big shout out to our sponsors: Quick Tech Computers, Greenfield's Pancake House, Da Vinci's Pizza, and Champions Fun Center. Thanks to them, we were able to make this event actually happen, and so a big shout out to them. We'd also like to give a big shout out to DJ Wheat. DJ Wheat also lives here in Nebraska, and it's in large part thanks to his inspiring words, his encouragement, that we formed the Nebraska Esports Association and put on this event. And so a big thanks to him for just being a supporter of esports and helping us make this happen. So thanks again for watching, and we'll be back later with the rest of the tournament in the subsequent weeks and such. We'll be trying to cast all these games from replays. So thanks again, and see you around.